Is the Fanatec Clubsport GT3 rim and the Clubsport hub plus QR2 the best proper GT3 wheel you can buy in 2026, especially for Gran Turismo on PlayStation? Or is there one big setup trap that you might want to avoid here, and also a weird full force haptic vibe that could potentially ruin the whole experience? Well, 2026 does look like the year Fanatec finally seems dangerous again. Fanatec has purpose, Fanatec has aggression, Fanatec has full force, Fanatec is dropping prices. Now you've got this. This is a Fanatec Clubsport GT3 rim that on paper is meant to be the grown-up alternative to the classic but entry-level McLaren GT3 CSL wheel. And it costs, believe this or not, just $99. But there's a catch. There's actually a few catches here, because a rim like this isn't just a rim. It's also how the way the grip sit, it's how secure these button modules are, it's how everything vibrates as one system. Because remember, you're only going to be running something like this on a force feedback wheelbase, and those vibrations, that force feedback through this combination could completely change both what you think your wheelbase is capable of in a good way, but also expose hidden weaknesses with your wheel. So to be as helpful as possible in this video, I'm going to break down what immediately feels better than the McLaren GT3, now the CSL GT3 that I bought years ago and used for thousands of hours. What surprises me in a good way about this rim and this combo, the QR2 installation mistake that I think a load of people are going to make, which really frustrates me, those full force haptic sensations that did make me question whether something is wrong with this rim, and also whether it's worth the price tag, which is, let's be honest, way higher than $99. So by the end, you are going to know whether this is the dream Clubsport combo, or if you should stick with cheaper options like the CSL GT3. And if you are thinking of buying this rim, you'll definitely want to see the difficulties I had in making it and how you could break the screen really easily. Okay, so first impressions. The second I grabbed this thing, I was like, yes, this is the correct shape, because the grips are chunky, like nice chunky grips, not chunky like big plastic toy wheel. It's chunky like I can wrestle with this thing in a GT3 car for like an hour-long stint and not cramp up. So one of the biggest things I like about this wheel is the thumb placement, the thumb position. Fanatec have done it with a really nice curve, so your thumbs sit all encased in this nice rubbery material. And it sounds minor, but it really matters. Like this is almost a deal breaker for me for wheels. I've got here the Porsche VGT wheel from Fanatec, where your thumbs rest on aluminium. Let me show you here. Your thumbs rest on the aluminium. You can see Pascal Wehrlein's signature there, Porsche factory drive, which is pretty cool. On the GT3 Clubsport rim, your thumbs rest on the rubber. Really, really nice. You're not on cold metal, you're not on any ridges, you're not on a sharp edge, you're on rubber. So immediately it feels more premium, more planted, and to be honest, just more naturally confidence inspiring. Because you know when you pick up something and your hands go, yeah, I trust this, and it sort of melts in your hands, and you no longer need to think about your wheel, you just are transported like into the cockpit of your virtual car. And this is what people mean often by better wheel feel. It's like a hard thing to explain. It's nothing to do with like torque or software. It's actual ergonomics, and this is a bit of a banger, I think, when it comes to ergonomics. You can see it looks like a banger as well. And the reason why I'm stressing comfort so much is because the moment you start shifting and full force starts doing its thing on the DD Plus with kind of haptics, the whole rim does change personality. Like there's a big personality shift. And that's why I did start to question whether the vibration is a premium feeling or a problem. So we'll get on that very quickly. I do want to just talk about the shifters first, because the shifters are really, really, really long. Like these are long shifters, and this is why I have to explain like how this rim works in combination with the hub. Okay, so this rim is what Fanatec have released today for $99. This is a CNC aluminium with the grips. Okay, that costs $99. But it doesn't work on its own. Even if you put a QR on it, it wouldn't work on a Fanatec wheelbase. You need to have a hub for the wheelbase to recognize it and deliver you force feedback. So Fanatec, this is all being provided by Fanatec, by the way, for review. No payment, no strings attached, no review of this content. It's just a box arrives and I review it. They did provide this CSL Clubsport universal hub, and also a QR2, which is where we get to the price also, because this is not a $99 kind of combination here. Yes, the rim is $99, and that is crazy. I think that's by far the cheapest rim that Fanatec do, and it's again a sign of Fanatec getting more competitive with pricing. But this hub here, I think it's $399 for the Xbox version and $369 for the PC version. This is the PC version here, I believe. And also the QR, which is like about $89, $90, I believe. So there you're looking in total, you're looking about $550 basically, if my maths is correct, for this unit here, which is not $99. And when you go to 550, you're going $300, more than $300 more than the McLaren Fanatec GT3, now the CSL GT3. You're also going $200 more than the Porsche VGT I've got here. So this has to be a lot better. And like I said, that initial impression is like, it feels super premium, it feels perfect, it feels strong, but it is a hub system, okay? So you get the shifters here, really, really nice long shifters. Now that's good because when you're doing big rotation on this wheel, you can still reach the shifters, but you can start to see some of the cables here are like coming out a little bit around the shifters. Can you see? That's because you have to make this thing. You have to put it all together. And some people are going to know this and it's going to be fine. Some people are not going to know it and it's going to be a problem because this was not an easy wheel to put together, like by any stretch of the imagination. I struggle with this wheel. I would personally, if you're going to buy this, I would set aside at least an hour to put this thing together. And it's really frustrating, in my opinion, to make. You have to take apart your hub and you have to reconnect it on your rim. And part of that is you have to disconnect all these cables and put them back together. So I haven't done a fantastic job here of putting these cables back together. So making this wheel was a pain in the butt, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. But once it's together, it feels surprisingly robust, even for myself making it as a certified idiot. The buttons feel robust. And again, the process of making it, when you disassemble it, you're like, oh my God, is it going to come back together and feel strong? But they have a good click. Like, I like the button placement here. It's within thumb reach. You can see the way I've sticked it. By the way, I should say, Fanatec also sent across some coloured buttons and stickers. I think they're extra. I don't think they're included with this rim. So when you see these coloured buttons here, they're not included. I'm not sure what the price is, but hopefully they wouldn't be too expensive. Maybe you can get them aftermarket as well, because they're just button caps. But yeah, it was surprising to me how solid it feels, because the build process doesn't feel like you're building a tank. And when you get a product out of the box and it's all assembled by the company you bought it from, you can think, oh, this is a tank. But when you put this together, you know that you're not building a tank. But then when it's here, it is solid, which really, really, really surprises me. But this is where I have a little bit of a problem with this whole hub system with the rim and everything. Because when you use it on the base like the Clubsport DD Plus, which has full force, which is great in Gran Turismo, great in iRacing, you get a lot of haptic sensations. And on upshift, there is a big haptic sensation. If you know Thrustmaster, they have their gear jolt. There's something like that. And when you get some of these haptics that vibrate at certain frequencies, and I've talked about this with MOZA, I've talked about it with Fanatec before. For example, it can shake your rig. It can start to undo bolts even. There's something about the frequency, the resonance. When you get some frequencies through full force with a hub system like this, even though the rim itself is obviously solid CNC aluminium, because of the way it all screws together, it can feel a little bit kind of hollow, or it can vibrate in the way that just reminds you that you've screwed it together and it's not one whole solid wheel. And that is really interesting. Obviously, when you buy a wheel out of the box that you don't have to put together, that also has also been put together in a factory. And actually, I've been to the sim racing factories and I've seen how wheels are assembled on the assembly line. But there's something about the haptics here that did make me feel like, this starts to maybe go from feeling a bit premium to just constantly reminding me that, did I screw all these bolts together properly? Did I tighten them properly? Because if I didn't, maybe the haptics at certain frequencies are going to start to unscrew them. Might sound crazy, but if you've been using full force, LFE, true force, you'll know how powerful these vibrations can be at different frequencies. So it is something I wanted to mention. Now, something else I really, really, really need to mention is the installation of QR2 on this rim. And I'm not a massive hub person, but I end up reviewing more hubs like the Logitech systems or hubs these days. There is something really easy to get wrong in this wheel that luckily I didn't get wrong, but I am a professional idiot, so I'm surprised I didn't get it wrong, to be honest. These bolts here, when you screw on the QR2 onto your hub, there are long bolts that come in the QR2 box that you immediately like, oh, I'll just screw it in. That apparently will destroy your screen because for some reason the electrics of the screen come into the threads for the screws of the QR2. And if you use a long bolt, you'll just obliterate them. So you have to use shorter bolts. I think came with the rim. I think they came in the rim or the hub. I can't remember which one. But you have to use shorter bolts. So really worth bearing that in mind. If 1,000 people buy this, I reckon at least 10 people are going to destroy it. So hopefully if you watch this video, you're not going to destroy it and I've helped you out. Okay, this is the big part of the video then. Is it better than the McLaren GT3 rim, understanding that it is over $300 more expensive? In my hands, yes, it is better. Remember, I use the McLaren GT3, the Fanatec CSL wheel, a lot. It feels more precise, and I can't give you like a spreadsheet metric for precision, but you do feel it, okay? And if you are a GT3 racer, you'll understand it, and I'll try and explain it in the best words I can. So I went, for example, to Daytona in a GT3 car. There are corners there like the International Horseshoe, like the first corner, like going into the chicane, the bus stop, where you really need to be really in tune with the rotation of the wheel in your car, because sometimes you need to over-rotate the wheel a little bit to give yourself a little bit more margin, and then you can unwind it a little bit, especially at something like the International Horseshoe. Sometimes at Daytona I find that you have to really chuck it in. Like, it's not like tipping it into poo on at Spa, where you just kind of like, oh. At Daytona, you have to be kind of like this, right? And sometimes the car will understeer even a little bit, but once the car decelerates enough, the tyres will bite and give you that rotation. And sometimes you want to get a really initial good rotation and just kind of like power it out on the exit and run really wide on the exit of corners. I could do that so well in this wheel. To me, it feels stronger than the Fanatec McLaren GT3 wheel. It feels more precise. And again, it's part of this, like, you just absolutely melt into the rim and you're there, and I'm not even thinking about the wheel anymore, which is ironic. I'm just approaching my apexes and I really feel like I can chuck it in. I really feel like I can give it extra rotation and then bring it back if I need to. I'm not struggling with it. I'm not like struggling to push it to the apex. I'm really comfortable in giving it too much if I need to and winding it back. That also is because the force feedback I've got is really dialed in, really nice. Go watch my my Fanatec settings guides for their wheelbases in Gran Turismo, because I've got it really nice, and I know like on default it can be an absolute pain in the butt. So this is a more precise wheel than the Fanatec. Is it worth $300 more? To some people, yes, because it is better. I could be making this video and I could be at this point like, you know what, it actually isn't better than the McLaren, but that's not true. It is better than the McLaren wheel, so therefore it depends, is it worth $300 more to you? Is it better than the Porsche, $200 more than the Porsche? I'd say for a lot of people this is going to be better than the Porsche. Like, this wheel for me is similar to the THRUSTMASTER hypercar wheel. This is a stylish wheel. It's similar to the MOZA Porsche wheel I've got up here. It's style over substance. This is all about substance. This is really, it's not nice to look at even from the back. I'm not even sure it's that nice to look at from the front, to be honest with you. I think the McLaren wheel probably looks better. But this is a pure functional wheel. And you can see that with their extra sticker pack and stuff, I've stickered in Gran Turismo what I need to. The share button for making content, changing camera, reverse, handbrake, the X button on PlayStation, the start-stop button, and that is to cycle through my the little MFD thing. So and the rest of them I'm not using. Anything black on here I'm not using. So this is really a very functional rim, and the screen itself, which comes from the hub. I know in this video I'm kind of like talking about the hub and the rim all together, but I feel like you need to. There's no point me reviewing a $99 rim on its own, because no one's going to sit there with $99 rim and just look at it. You're going to have to attach it to something. So I'm reviewing this in the round. Now let's finish the video by talking about pricing a little bit more specifically, because the Clubsport DD Plus wheelbase from Fanatec did get a price drop recently and has come down to $899. I do think it is a really good option on PlayStation. If you want something better than a RS50, better than a G Pro arguably, then go to the Clubsport DD Plus for $899. And also it has full force, which is implemented now in Gran Turismo. Then you add about the $550 for this. Apologies if I've got the right pricing slightly wrong on this. Go check out my affiliate links in the description. I'll all go through to the latest product pages for it. But then you're looking at about $1,400-ish for the full Clubsport GT3 setup. And that doesn't include pedals. If you want to add the Fanatec Clubsport V3 pedals, which are great pedals, you're looking at another about $400. So you're getting close to $2,000. Now, that is a pretty extreme Gran Turismo setup, but that is also a really good Gran Turismo setup. And there's been stages of my life where I played a lot of Gran Turismo, winning top split daily races, doing FIA and GT World Series, and been really into the social side of the game. At the moment, I'm doing a lot of reviewing, but I might jump back into Gran Turismo really hardcore in the future. And I know that if I knew I was going to do that for a year, I would be very tempted to run this setup over the Logitech that I'm running at the moment, because the Logitech, this is a better GT3 rim than the Logitech rim. The Logitech is way simpler to make, by the way, like way simpler. That you know, it's like, you know, a baby could make the Logitech rim and hub system, but this is like something different. So that is going to put people off. But yeah, so it's a very competitive product now in terms of, I think it performs excellently. The pricing is a problem for it because it is expensive, but for a lot of people, the pricing isn't going to be a problem. So let me know what you think in the comments, whether you're thinking about buying this or not. Let me know what you think about the pricing. Let me know what you think about the way this is to assemble, etc. And if you think it's a good product from Fanatec or not. It's been interesting to review it because it gives me an example of a product for Gran Turismo that's like above what the G Pro and RS50 can do, and well above what THRUSTMASTER can do, which is really interesting. So yeah, hopefully this has helped you. Make sure to subscribe. It really helps me out. I don't get paid to make these reviews, and I'll see you in the next one.